of this radio station.
This is Express Yourself with the Professor. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express Yourself live on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Good afternoon, Bahamas. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. It is good to be on air today in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, perhaps the freest nation on the planet, because you now see that even Kenya has some internal problems where they set the parliament on fire, caused some severe damage, and 22 or more people murdered, shot, dead in the streets. And I believe they said hundreds or thousands are injured. And of course, one report said they got what they wanted. No, they didn't get what they wanted. The president of that country came to see that he was not going to sign the piece of legislation that the parliament had passed. He decided he's not going to do that anymore. But look at the damage. Look at the damage, Bahamians. People lost their lives. Damage to the Parliament building and other damages that occurred. I guess they'll have to assess the damage, but the lives that were lost. Reported that 22 were killed, murdered, just like that. And I heard one report say the police had killed 5. So how the others got killed, I'm not quite sure. But Bahamian, things are changing around the world. Some terrible things are happening. We have our challenges here, and I don't think we're paying as much attention as we should to our internal issues, which we could avoid spilling over like how it is in Kenya. And they got some, is it 400 police, one report said, who are now in Haiti. They're supposed to go there to help restore order to Haiti while their own country is in need of being restored to order. And so you have a situation there where you have Kenyan police in another place when they are needed in Kenya itself. I don't know what kind of peace they think they could bring, but you had a superpower, the United States of America, were in Haiti, occupied Haiti. They caused billions of dollars in aid to go to Haiti over many years. And yet still, you don't see any real tangible results for the majority of Haitians. Millions of Haitians are outside of Haiti. And you have some Kenyan police officers who are supposed to go to restore order in this so-called international peacekeeping team. I don't have to guess what may happen. I think history has proven over and repeatedly some serious errors, some serious mistakes have been made by the governments of this world. They're not learning anything. They're not doing any better. I think you put these police officers in harm's way because you got the gangs in Haiti who have vowed to fight. They don't want any foreigners in their territory, and that's fine. Let all those Haitians who are outside of Haiti, in the United States, in the Bahamas, you got plenty of males around here, living in the Bahamas illegally. And our authorities don't seem to understand that we need to put a handle on it. Well, then if they don't, then someone else will do it. Because people are beginning to wake up now to see what has been happening in the country. Well, we got to do more than just wake up. We have to take decisive action that is essential to move the country forward. Now, some other strange things are happening. Have you noticed the number of people who are coming to the Bahamas and dying in the Bahamas? They go in the water, say they're snorkeling in Exuma and Eleuthera, New Providence, Grand Bahama, and other places throughout the country. They're supposed to be snorkeling or swimming in the water. And these people are in there late 50s, 60s, and they're dying in the Bahamas. When they pull them out of the water, they try to resuscitate them. They may already be dead. And when they get to the clinic, they pronounce them dead. When they get to the hospital, they pronounce them dead. We've seen that trend developing in this country, and it gives the country a bad rap because now we have a situation where a particular personality was reported to come to the Bahamas to some event on Paradise Island. And I heard some particulars from a taxi driver who says that you have to get to this particular place, the yoga retreat or yogi retreat, whatever they call it. You have to go by boat from New Providence and then over to Paradise. And they have a skiff. Maybe that's a little boat they use. They carry people over and then bring them back to New Providence. And that's right there in the Elizabeth Street area of New Providence. They have some sort of place out there where they have a dock and they go from that dock and go over. Now, the kind of security they have, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. But this is a report that came from a taxi driver who's been in the business for years, because he has had first-hand experience, according to him, in dealing with these people who go to that retreat or that particular place. And most people don't know about it. It might be a secretive place. But the point is, this particular personality did not appear. And you see the Ministry of Tourism head over heels in that. But let's contrast that to the 16-year-old boy who has been missing for 6 weeks. I ain't see the Ministry of Tourism saying anything about that. Here's a Bahamian youth. Disappeared. Where is he? And getting back to the particular personality who apparently didn't go to retreat, it is reported. Let me put my words correctly now. It was reported that the phone of this particular individual was found on the beach. But how did it get there? Was the person on Paradise Island? Did the person disappear? What happened? We are not quite sure. The police say they're investigating. And let me say something about the police investigations. They have so many things to investigate. You got such a limited police force. You don't have an endless number of police officers. We're asking them to investigate all kinds of things, and they get all mixed up in the head. And they ain't quite sure what the heck they're doing. Because we are demanding so much from a limited police force with few officers. Then you got some that getting themselves into trouble. There's a report out that police officers went to a particular house, and the occupants of that house said after research some $9,000 in cash missing. Said the police searching for drugs. Now, I'm not quite sure how that went down, but it is reported that some $9,000 missing. I won't use another word, but let's just say it's not there. It is reported that it's not there. It was supposed to have been there, but when the police came out of the room, the money was not there. And of course, the police are investigating that. So I'm saying, Bahamians, the police have so many things to investigate. You know, some of these things can get left out. They will tell you sometimes intensive investigation. What does that mean? Intensive investigation. Or we are investigating. They're working on some things. What do those terminologies mean? Because some things you don't hear nothing about. A violent incident occurred in New Providence a couple years ago, and 6 lives went down in broad daylight. You haven't heard the end of that yet. The police were supposed to do some intensive investigations into that. Fellow just walked out of the police station, got into their vehicle, and a short distance away, they were attacked, fired upon, they were gone. So I'm saying that there are so many things that the police have to investigate or ought to be investigating. What kind of time are they going to have to protect us who are citizens in the community who want peace and tranquility? You know how many acts of violence go unreported? How many times you would even report to the police about some things that are happening on the ground? The police tell you they ain't got no car. Just one police officer in the station. He got to look after the prisoner who is in the cell. They can't send anyone out. He got to answer the phone, someone else calling in. These are the kind of crappy things you get from the police. And then Miss Skippings, Christlyn Skippings, I think that's the name, chief superintendent, whatever title she has, and some others, Chief Superintendent Lockett. I spoke to the two of them, and they tell you, call the police. You see something, say something. But some people are rather skeptical about that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't report anything. The point is, after you've done it several times and you're being ignored, no one seems to care. And people say, why should I care? Because sometimes people take an indifferent attitude. They don't show any interest. It's not important to them. But here's the Ministry of Tourism falling all over, talking about fallout from international media over a particular personality who ain't quite sure who they are. Because I heard this on the radio. There was a discussion. And we have this thing where, you know, people decide you be a male or a man this morning, and then this afternoon you're a woman. Do you know that kind of mix-up causes confusion? You dress up as a man in the morning. In the afternoon, you decide I want to be a woman. So you put on woman's clothes. And you look, you think that's a woman. That's something else under those clothes. That's deception behaviors. But we have these kind of people around here who want to bring this garbage into the country. And we must accept it. We must just go along with it. Well, I won't. And neither should you. You either be male or female. Someone was telling me about a particular situation that occurred at the airport. The particular personality was appearing to be one thing, and you look at the passport says something else. And I understand the particular individual who was dealing with that particular matter had to admit the person based on what was in the passport. So we have some funny things happening in the world today. And people just want you to accept this nonsense. They're not sure who the heck they are. Are you male or female? All of a sudden, this is confusion. We ain't know no more yet. Who is a male and who is a female? Is that what you're trying to tell me? After all these years, we can't differentiate with the sexes. And some people just say, I heard another talk show host say, talking foolishness and nonsense. Another person is missing. Well, what kind of person? Is it male or female? It doesn't matter according to them. It's just that person is missing. The fact that you're mixed up in your head, you don't know whether you're man or woman, boy or girl, that in itself creates problems for the police. Who's supposed to fix that? And what it does, it robs us who are law-abiding citizens from the protection we ought to be getting from the police. Where's our protection? They're so busy going after tourists coming here, doing foolishness and nonsense. And then here's another thing, Bahamians, what you need to understand. 2 of our young sons were destroyed in Italy. Their bodies found in that dirty water they have under the bridge. We have clean water in the Bahamas. And yet we don't know what happened to those 2 young men. And their family is very concerned and very disturbed. This happened some time ago. I guess they're still investigating. We don't know. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, he got one file. We're not interested in no file. We were interested in results. People could put anything in a file. Bunch of paper. But the boys are still dead. I think they're buried now. But this is the kind of thing that happens. Now, let me say this to Bahamians. When you travel, exercise caution and restraint. Because you are not sure how the government of the Bahamas is going to come to your rescue. Let me repeat that. When you travel from this country, exercise caution and restraint, because if something were to happen, you are not sure how the government of the Bahamas is going to come to your rescue. That is a serious thing to contemplate. Where's your protection? Where's foreign affairs? These fellas are still dead. And we don't know yet what has happened to them. It's found in the water. You know, Bahamians don't jump in no dirty water from no bridge. But I think we're stupid, eh? We got the best waters in the world, and some of us even stay away from them. We may go on the beach. And we exercise caution and restraint. Now, some people are a little careless and they get themselves in trouble, like the fellow on the jet ski. And they had to go out looking for him. And then he was entangled in some other things, and he was found dead. That was a young life, I think, 25 years of age. But some people just take unnecessary risk with their lives. Now, genuine Bahamians don't do that. You have to know what a genuine Bahamian is. You take precautionary measures. When you get as young as I am, you take precautionary measures. You don't be slack with your life. You don't take any and everything what people say. I exercise the greatest caution and restraint. And sometimes there are some people you cannot trust them. Their word is no good. It's weightless. And it can cost you your life, Bahamians. And particularly our younger people who are so gullible. Please, you need to be very careful. So when you go and you have your friends here and they go in partying this and partying that, and the 16-year-old boy, I don't know if I mentioned that yet, who has disappeared now 6 weeks. Police got to be looking for him too. We don't know what has happened. But you see, the police got so many things they need to investigate. Now, some of them can get left out in the cold. Let's face the harsh reality. They just have too many things to investigate, and some of them are not going to get any real attention. That's just the harsh reality of life. I remembered when Melanie Griffin's husband was murdered. The police told us at that time, in fact, the Prime Minister said he would put intensive police on that, and I think they did that. The end result of it, I don't know what really they found out. But that was a tragedy that occurred in this country. The representative, a former representative's husband, murdered. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Thompson.
Hey, what's happening?
You ready for battle?
Mr. Producer, I heard what he said, but could you bring the volume up a bit for me?
Huh?
Yeah, could you bring the volume up, Mr. Producer? He's kind of low. Or is my own low? I don't know.
You're on slow.
Mr. Producer, give us a little bit more volume there. Okay, go ahead, Carl. I think the producer will work on that.
The man say he ready for battle.
What does that mean?
Well, what does me tell the constituency them? You won't get your house or another.
I think he was addressing who? When this meeting occurred, I think somewhere in Yellow Elder. Who is he talking to?
He's talking
Who is he talking to?
To the supporters of the PLP.
Okay, good. I'm glad you put it that way. Supporters of who? Or alleged supporters of the PLP.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he wasn't talking to Bahamas, right? He wasn't talking to Bahamian people as a whole. He was talking to supporters or alleged supporters of the PLP.
And they are Bahamian?
No. You're not listening to what I'm saying. He was addressing this so-called battle ready for alleged supporters or supporters of the Progressive Liberal Party. He did not address the Bahamian people.
So
did you get what I just said? Huh?
Who you think he was talking to?
No, based on what I heard him say on the radio, the report that came on the airwaves, my understanding is that, and anyone who don't know better, correct me, the report that came in was that he was addressing PLPs at a meeting or supporters of that particular party. He was not addressing the nation as a whole horse of a different color. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
I don't know. All I hear him say that all the constituency areas and stuff like that get the troop together.
Well,
so constituency meaning Delaport, Fox Hill, Gambale, wherever, South Beach, wherever you have a representative, get your meeting together and get ready to go out to campaign or something like that. That's my understanding.
Well, I don't know.
You may have a different understanding from what he said.
Well, from what I understood, and like I say, if anyone in the public could correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was reported that he was talking about 7 specific constituencies.
You mean the people in Haiti?
No, 7 particular constituencies.
I can't hear you now.
Mr. Producer, you got to give us some more volume because the caller is saying he's not able to hear me. I'm gonna continue speaking while the producer waits on that. I understand from the report that I got, he was addressing people in 7 particular constituencies, opposition constituencies. Now, the others, I don't know. This battle-ready talk, I don't know what he's referring to with that. But they said that the language was very not colorful at all, in the sense that, they thought it was rough and it was violent, the comments that he used.
Well, don't forget now, that was famous Mr. Penland Wood. Let's go to battle ready.
Yeah, but Penland ain't here no more.
No, what does that mean? But I guess he's still using his speech and stuff like that.
But then this particular personality might mean something different.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's how you see it.
No, but see, you got to listen to what the man is saying. Just take what he says. I ain't going to interpret nothing what he said.
Well, according to my call this morning from one of the big fellow who was there.
Okay.
It looked like next year or so.
Well, I heard that you could be right with that. That you could be right because I heard something similar to that. Yes, I heard something similar to that.
Mm-hmm. And I heard you touch on what is going on in the Bahamas with most of the tourists that are traveling. And
because
who ain't getting killed in the sea and who ain't getting boat crash and who ain't what.
You see the kind of vehicles the authorities allowing them to use in this country? Vehicles without doors, vehicles without windshield.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't get that. We can't even drive a vehicle
No.
like that. So how is it that the road traffic people could allow these individuals to be so careless on our streets? And someone already overturned right in front of the police there on the area out there by Long Wharf.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Fish fry.
Fish fry.
Can you hear me, Mr. Producer? He's so low. I don't know what's happening there. Can you hear me, caller?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, but Mr. Producer
You think I
sounds so
believe
far away.
what that question you asked? I don't know if it's a mystery. I don't know what's going on. It's just like how some Bahamian go away. Maybe a month ago, a Bahamian lady was in a car, and
Yes.
another car run up in the back of her, kill her right on the red light.
Yes.
Then you get the gentleman. It's a big time thing in the PLP. He was crossing the road or whatever, car run across him, knock him down, kill him.
Uh-huh.
So, sometimes I don't know, like no one say no way where that is and stuff like that. And
But let's look at this. You know the two young men who were in Italy.
yeah,
Something happened to them,
yeah.
and they were found in that dirty river, or that dirty water under the river, under the bridge.
Me and you will never know the true story of that.
Well, the family is looking into it, and they can't get any answers.
Mr. Mitchell say he ain't nothing else he could do. Say yes.
Well, see, this is why I caution the Bahamian people: when you travel, you are not sure whether the government of the Bahamas is going to come to your rescue if you run into a difficulty. That's what we need to face as Bahamian citizens. We are not guaranteed the security of our government if something were to happen if we're in a foreign country.
So don't you think now when we go, we should choose where we should go then?
No, what I'm saying is, hear me out, caller. Let me make this clear to the Bahamian people, because I don't want no misunderstanding. We have to take precautionary measures.
Exactly.
I'm not saying Bahamians should not travel. But you have to understand that our government, the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, there is no guarantee that they're going to come to your rescue if you run into any difficulty in any foreign country at any time from here on out. They may take their own slow time.
So what you think about the Kenyan now that in Haiti was doing the dance yesterday?
Do you mean the ones that went to Haiti?
Yeah.
Okay, you had two situations. Them 400 went to Haiti, and then the Parliament building was attacked. Some 22 people, I think 22 people they reported were killed. A lot of bloodshed. Then the president decided he ain't going to sign the thing no more. But the damage had already been done. And it could be hundreds of people or thousands of people who were injured.
Yeah. But you know, some brother said, all around the world, the world leaders are scratching their heads. They don't know what to do. They don't have an answer. And they are trying to get the best advisor. Look at even in our own country. We get so much advisor in government. And they still don't know the answer.
That is correct.
They say, you know something, what we're going to do? We're going to ask the professor. We're going to ask the DD. We're going to ask the scientist. We're going to ask this one, what is the problem? I don't know if these things are hidden from the smart man and they do not have the answer for what's taking place in the earth realm.
Caller, all you have to do is look at 51 years of experience with the government of the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. That's the answer right there. Mm-hmm. See, you don't have to worry about what they could do or cannot do or should have done. You have a track record of the government of the Bahamas from July the 10th, 1973, right on up to the day, almost 51 years later. Isn't that enough proof? With the people you gave the authority to run your national affairs, and you ain't got enough sense to figure it out yet? Their very behavior, what they have done while they were there, those who are there now, is clear-cut proof where you stand with them.
So,
And I'm telling Bahamians, when you go traveling, you got to be extra careful because you ain't sure your Ministry of Foreign Affairs is going to come to your rescue.
so, Brother Sid, before I leave, you see who was down Eleuthera, I think yesterday or day before yesterday?
Uh-huh.
Michael Pentard say he going to check on the people them for the water
With the water,
situation.
yeah.
But this is the same person what being in there when they had the biggest problem going on and on.
Yeah, that is true.
Why
He was
we
right
trying
there.
to hoodwink these people and bamboozle these people? What else we can tell these people, man?
It's the people got to wake up to the crap that we've been getting for 51 years by those who were given the authority to run this place. That's all we have to look at and ask
serious.
ourselves, we want more of this foolishness
Yeah.
or we want to change things so we can have a better country. Because it doesn't look good, caller.
No.
It doesn't look good at all
No. And the country is too small.
for all this foolishness.
The country is too small, and you could fix this country, but you got family, friends, and lovers, and this one could give this one the contract, and because see, it's just a ball of confusion.
This is
But
why
I just hope the person you talk about on Paradise Island, the whoever it is, whether it's a man or woman, whoever it is, I just hope wherever that individual is, they find them, because we don't need these more black eye and Hispanics, man.
yeah, but then we are not responsible for the behavior of an adult, and the Ministry of Tourism is falling all over the ground
Yeah,
over this particular incident. You don't do that for Bahamians?
but you forget that they just 2 weeks ago they just came back from different part of the United States saying how good and how this and that and stuff like that. So now we see in this now, you know, people can't sleep because they want to get to the bottom of this. You know,
I can understand the family being concerned because I understand they're supposed to be coming or they may already be here.
they're
But the
already here.
point is, the government of the Bahamas shouldn't be falling down over the actions of a particular personality who comes there, who's an adult. I'm not saying anything untoward should happen to them, but you don't do that for Bahamians. Look at the 15-year-old boy who's been missing for 6 weeks. You see the Ministry of Tourism say anything about that?
No,
So what the heck they talking about?
but you know, I guess they are saying, you know, where we tourists and be dependent on tourists and stuff
No.
like that. And
We provide a service for people who come here. These are adult males and females, and some of them ain't sure the heck who they are anyhow. That's why you have all of this confusion. But the point is, it saddens me when I see an agency of the government of the Bahamas falling all over the ground over the actions of an adult personality, because we ain't sure whether he's man or woman, doing foolishness and nonsense. And the particular personality, as I got reports of, did not even appear at the yoga place. Was not even there. But it is reported that the phone was found on the beach. Say the police have it.
But I believe there's something behind this, because
No, something
Why?
went wrong.
why America will, if they send out a warning to their people for coming here, why will they say on the news Jamaica also will send out a warning? Why put Jamaica if you're dealing with the Bahamas?
Yeah, I agree with you.
So it's something behind this, you know. So, but just leave it like that. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay,
Okay,
Colin,
brother
well,
Sid.
thanks for your contribution. I got some others on the line they want to get in. But thank you very much for calling in. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Oh, we're going to a break. I didn't hear the music. Sorry about that. We're going to break. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We're going to break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kingdom National Parkinson Foundation presents its 24th Charity Gala, Saturday, June 29, 2024, at the Grand Ballroom Grand Hyatt Bahama Convention Center. And here to set the mood right and the night
I really dig your company.
It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and Global Radio 99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. The Hamans, I always have a problem when the government of the Bahamas appears to be showing, or an agency of the government appears to be showing more interest in strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders. And I said, and I'll say it again, be very careful who you associate with, particularly if you're going overseas, because you are not sure whether the government of the Bahamas is going to back you up and give you the necessary support that you rightfully deserve as a citizen of the Bahamas if you were to run into any difficulty. It may not be your fault, you know. We got 2 dead sons already buried in the ground, and we don't know what happened to them yet. Police say they're investigating, having some other people in Italy investigating. They were found in some dirty water under one bridge somewhere. They don't jump in no dirty water off no bridge. You think we're stupid? We got the best waters in the world, and some of us stay away, away from them because we like to stay on the land. Mr. Hyler, Thank you very much for coming.
Good day. Thank you for having me once again. And good day, Bahamas. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Professor.
plenty things are happening. And I was
things
talking
going on.
about the incident, where the Ministry of Tourism is talking about international fallout. We cannot be held accountable for the behavior of these adult males and females, and some of them who ain't quite sure who the heck they are. We should not be held accountable for that in any way, shape, or form.
You know something,
Go ahead, Brother
Professor?
Hyler.
It's very interesting. Like you said, they seem more concerned about
Yes, they
international
are.
fallout over
Yes.
their behavior.
Over behavior, and
But-
we got 2 dead Bahamians
Okay.
who found in the water in Italy, and we
Okay.
ain't know what happened to them yet.
Okay,
And I supposed to be satisfied with the
Yeah.
crap that they're
Yeah.
putting out? Hell no.
very serious. Because we're talking about 2 sons of the Bahamas.
2 sons of the Bahamas.
I mean,
And that happened
Yeah.
some time ago.
and it's heart wrenching. Even in
It is.
in Italy, that report was just completed not even a month or 2 ago. Years. They just completed that report. There were no updates.
See, this shows you how weak our government is when it comes to protecting Bahamians. That's why I am warning the Bahamian people.
Mm.
Be very careful when you go overseas, and be very careful who you're getting in contact with, because
Mhm.
if something would happen, it mightn't be your fault.
Mhm.
You have no guarantee that your government, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is going to come to your rescue.
This is
None whatsoever.
This is very serious.
It is serious.
My mind goes way back to even the COVID times with
Yes.
students that were trapped, so to
Trapped,
speak.
yeah,
You know what I
trapped,
mean?
Yeah, I remember
there,
that.
there was no sense of, you know what, at all cost,
Let's get them out.
Let's get them out.
And they didn't.
Let's get them home. There's
The
no
government of the
sense
Bahamas
of
did
that.
not act quickly,
Urgently.
urgently on behalf of those students.
Yes.
See, but I tell you, that's how they are. And this
Oh,
one ain't no
that's-
different. It's the same government of the Bahamas. But
Boy.
this is the kind of behavior they are. And when I hear on the radio how the Ministry of Tourism
Mhm.
falling down
Mm.
over this particular personality, you ain't
Mhm.
sure whether they're male or female,
Mm.
and talking about international fallout for the misbehavior of a particular personality who didn't even appear to the place where they were supposed to go. What kind of
Yeah.
nonsense is that?
Yeah, that's serious. I mean, every life matters. We understand that, but what you're talking about is their response and their attitude.
Their response
They-
and their
they-
attitude. That's
they-
what I'm talking
They
about.
more concerned about international fallout
Huh?
than Bahamian fallout over Bahamian issues.
But then when Bahamians are over there and something happened to them, what happens? What happens?
Some say, "Dog, eat your lunch." It is an attitude problem.
Big attitude problem.
on the government's,
On the
behalf.
government's behalf, yeah.
but it has to do with how we respond to them or what we allow them to do.
I agree with you.
Because we put our trust in them, we empower them, and for us to be treated the way we are treated, it's just unconscionable. I mean, it's not good. But we really have to change our attitude before they change theirs.
But I think the Bahamian people have to wake up and realize this crap been going on for 51 years. Next
Yeah.
July the 10th, okay?
Yeah.
Now, either we're going to stand up and stop the foolishness,
Hmm.
because we already see a trend, a record trend, a credible record trend by the government of the Bahamas when it comes to dealing with Bahamians.
Understood.
The record is crystal clear
Understood.
in my mind,
Right.
because I always ask the actions of the government,
Right.
is it constitutionally sound, yes or no? If it is not, you check Article 2.
Mhm.
That's the answer right there.
Well, I notice a trend also. When you stand up, when you attempt to do what is right, you are the one that's fired. You are the one that is removed. Now, that's a track record, no matter what color you're wearing. In other words, I believe that's a part of the reason, not making an excuse, but I believe that's why a lot of people are slow to stand up for their own rights,
Yes.
and even those in leadership position, we tend
Yes.
to be very sheepish. We tend to be very
Too sheepish.
casual about
casual.
very serious matters.
Yes, that is correct.
We're talking
And we see
about-
that happening right now.
Yes, we're talking about over pension.
Yes.
Serious matters. We're talking about, your livelihood, what you done work for.
Yes.
We're talking about monies that are owed to you.
That's
We
right.
come tiptoeing in and saying, could I please have a few of those dollars that you know?
What you owe me.
And on the other side, the attitude is the opposite.
Exactly.
The attitude is aggressive. The attitude is dismissive. The attitude is one of secrecy in terms of not giving you information, not being forthcoming
That is
with
correct.
information. This is the attitude on the other side. There's no balance. There's no equity.
Yes.
You know, there's no justice.
Yes.
You know, it's a mismatch. It's not a good relationship.
No, it isn't. That is correct.
The citizenry of the Bahamas versus the government
Of the
Bahamas
Yes.
as they have been elected.
But I think the citizenry has the power in their hand to do something about it. But we just have not yet gotten to the point where we understand our responsibilities as the citizenry
Right.
to deal with a government when
Mhm.
they step out of line.
Mhm.
That is our problem. As it stands today,
Mhm.
we have not yet reached that point of majority.
But we getting there though.
But I think we got to move a little bit faster because I'm not comfortable
Well,
with what I see happening right now.
You know who getting there? Eleuthera getting there. Eleuthera is getting there. It also shows you that we will take months, many months, before we even complain. No light, no water, and we take it. We suck it up. That's a state of suffering. That
It is.
That is inhumane treatment.
That's contrary to the Constitution. A whole article speaks to inhumane and degrading treatment.
No, that's degrading.
Yes, it is.
You have to clean up yourself and get ready for work.
Yes.
It's mentally taxing
Yes, it is.
because you can't tell people I can't come to work or whatever. No, you still have to go
You have a
to work
responsibility.
to
Yes.
provide for your family and to
Yes.
meet your responsibilities,
Yes.
even if the government is not meeting theirs.
That is correct. Yes. Even if the government of the Bahamas is not meeting theirs.
We still have to march on Bahama
Yes.
land,
Yes, we have to.
and we're doing it.
Yes.
Man, God gotta come through for us, man.
Nobody will.
You know,
As long as we listen to what he says, follow our Constitution and
Yes.
follow the Holy Bible,
because we do
cannot
have
go
a
wrong.
part to play. We
No,
have
we
to-
do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have to take an action.
That's the situation when you have an administration
Mhm.
that is not acting in accordance with the law,
Mhm.
constitutional law, and statute law.
Yes.
It is then up to the citizenry
Mm.
to deal with that kind of a problem.
Well, you
Because you ain't getting no action from them fellas there.
no.
It's okay. My mother always say, if you can't hear, you'll feel.
Some strong words there.
Yes. And I am saying to the Bahamian people, you're going to have to take some unusual, strong constitutional action in order to protect your own interests. Because these people think you're joking. They ain't going to listen at first. You see what them people in Kenya did? The evidence is right there. And I heard a lot about it today. And of course, more of it will come out. Then the president decide, I ain't gonna sign that no more.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the damage.
One of
22 lives have already been lost.
Wow.
And hundreds or if not thousands injured.
Yes.
See, this is the kind of people you have running your affairs. See, we are making arrangement with these countries in Africa. We need to check what they were like before they became independent, who they were tied to, whether it was France or Germany or whoever, and then look at the record of their political history. Because we got ties with Kenya, and some other African countries in there.
Yeah. Ghana. Yeah.
Ghana, yeah.
And others.
But
Nigeria.
you need to check.
Yeah.
See, we need to check, and I'm going to tell Bahamians, look at the political history of these African nations. Look at where they came from. They say we come from there too,
Mm-hmm.
But as a Bahamian, I know African. So let me get that straight. I don't know nothing about them. But I am saying that we need to check the facts, the hardcore facts as they are now, and see what kind of stability they have in these countries. In spite of our problems, from 1729 right on up to now, when the House of Assembly was open in September. September is my birth month, by the way. We have had peaceful transition of one administration to the next without firing one shot. Compare that with the track record of all of those people we want to link ourselves up to. We don't seem to have much sense, eh? Because the man say they gave him good treatment because of who he is, right? You go there, you think you can get the same kind of treatment that that particular personality got? I doubt it. But the point is, let's be sensible and let's not be foolish to just say to have a contact with you for contact's sake without analyzing the history of these nations, where they came from, what has been the political history of that country up to right now today. And Kenya is a typical example of that. It shows you the people. Now, I know the people are under stress, under all kinds of issues. I understand all of that. But look what they had to do in order to get the president of that country to say, stop doing foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said today, he ain't signing the thing no more.
Well, Professor, my mind came right back to the Bahamas.
Yes.
And I said, one of the headlines read, storms of protests followed the president's announcement about to sign this document.
This document, yes.
Storms of protests. My mind went on my people.
Yes.
We have disrespect, disregard, and contempt right in our face.
That's correct.
From our government.
From the government of the Bahamas. Name the government of the Bahamas.
That's the government of the Bahamas.
Yes, sir. That's right. So let's make sure they understand who it's coming from now.
Yeah, but
the very people who you sent there to do your business are the ones who are causing the problems.
And with an attitude.
With a bad attitude, a rotten attitude, a stink attitude. Right in your face. You ain't got enough sense to see that.
But we don't do nothing.
We don't do nothing. Yes, you're right. 51 years of this crap.
Professor, for those that missed the show yesterday, because I still can't get over it. I still can't get over it, Professor.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you have a whole utility.
Yes.
A whole utility on the table, whereas we have an energy program introduced to us and told that we are going to get more details as soon as the ink is dry, after the documents are signed and sealed, and you can't do nothing about it no more.
That's contrary to law.
Our government
law and statute law.
Our government says as soon as the ink is dry,
yeah,
then we'll tell you what's happening.
What happening? Yeah.
After. And we read from the act yesterday.
We read it, yes.
The act said prior to.
Prior to, yes.
Prior to.
What's supposed to happen?
What's supposed to happen?
That's right.
People would be consulted.
Yes. And persons who may have an interest
can comment.
And also make their presence known.
They can make their presence known, their issues known.
Yes. But that ain't happened. The fellas didn't make an agreement.
No, IRCA has the responsibility to request comments.
I agree with you.
That's in the act.
Yes, it's in the act, yes.
And so we have the Minister of Energy. The Minister of Energy is supposed to be dealing with our energy policy and any acts of law. So she's saying nothing. The Prime Minister is saying nothing. The Deputy Prime Minister, or his second, is saying nothing. The unions are saying nothing.
That's correct.
I shouldn't say they're saying nothing. They're saying nothing in opposition.
They just told us they're in the dark. Now they don't have to be in the dark
they don't-
because they could go and get the
Whoa.
act for themselves.
Just the light company.
I think we have a caller on the line. It's the producer. Thank you very much. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, sir.
And good afternoon to your guest. Professor, you could put this to them too.
Good afternoon.
Who is responsible for these cameras? So some of these cameras are not working.
Yes.
Who is responsible for these? We could put that to Ika when we ask them with the question.
I agree. You're right.
Well, I want you and your guests to keep that in mind. Put that to Ika. Who is responsible for these cameras? Make sure they are working. They are very important.
I agree
Okay,
with you, caller.
Yeah.
Y'all have a blessed
No,
day.
good contribution.
Yeah, thank you,
You
thank
gotta make a note of that. Include that with the question.
Yeah.
Because I am hoping, my hopes are very high, Professor, that inside this week we will hear something from IRCA, or we will hear something from the unions, or we will hear something from the public stating opposition, because we are making sure that the public understands their rights. If you didn't know before, you know now. The Bahamas has an energy policy 2013 to 2033. And under that policy, just very briefly, Professor, inside that policy, it states that anything related to energy reform will be handled with, and I quote, high levels of consultation and citizen participation.
Okay.
But what we're getting instead is the managers union for BPL saying we are in the dark, the line staff union saying we in the dark also. Well, if everybody in the dark, everybody can be in the dark.
No,
And you shouldn't stay in the dark.
that is correct.
Or when the light come, at least turn the light on or walk toward the light.
But the document is there.
The document is right there.
So what happened to them?
No, but I'm trying to figure out how so many people are missing this.
Yes.
So many people, even CARICOM. Wouldn't comment, go any further on that, but another day we'll bring
deal
that
with
up.
We'll bring that
Another
one up.
day.
Yeah. That's the different.
For
That's a different perspective.
different perspective.
Yeah, we will deal with that
But
one.
but for today,
Yes.
we understand that our Attorney General even has a responsibility to guide the government legally. Legally.
Yes, the Constitution says the Attorney General is the chief legal advisor to the government.
Yes.
He's been giving them very bad advice.
He said this deal they're entering into a responsible deal.
The Attorney General has been giving the government of the Bahamas very bad, unconstitutional advice.
And I'm here to give the example, a direct example. If the energy policy states that all policy reform or the energy reform will unfold with high levels of consultation, then you need to make sure that happens.
Exactly.
If that does not happen, then the government is contravening the law.
Yes, they are.
They'll call it unparliamentary if I say they're breaking the law. They say but it's
It's a violation of law.
it's violation.
You got to speak it the way it is. It's a violation of law. The government ain't no better than nobody else.
Professor, I can get in trouble if I hang around you too long.
Not if you're constitutionally sound.
Well,
See, if you're not constitutionally sound,
yes.
then that's another problem. But as
Understood.
long as Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson is constitutionally sound,
Mhm.
ain't nothing could happen.
So-
Nothing.
So
whatsoever.
nobody refutes what you say?
I hear them yet. They could call now and refute it. So what you've heard anything? We deal specifically what the law says.
Well, we have to be careful. See, we in a radio station, we licensed by IRCA.
As long as we follow what the law says. Now, if they ain't doing it, that's their problem. The Bahamian people have to deal with them. Our job here on this radio station is to give the facts as they are, lock, stock, and barrel. We're not gossiping about anybody. If the prime minister makes a statement and he says that's what he says, we interpret that no other way. That's exactly what he said.
Well, he did say as soon as the ink dry. So that means we can't know everything. ahead of time as was supposed to happen.
We know what the act says. So that is no secret.
Okay.
Now, the people got to determine whether they can go with the act, or whether they can go with the Constitution, or go with the thought of a particular personality who says things contrary to the Constitution and things contrary to the act.
Well, just briefly, the act came into force June 1, 2024.
Yes.
And it's called the Electricity Act 2024.
Okay, we got to go to a break because I'm hearing the music. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We'll be back after the break.
Your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Let me just say this thing as a responsible talk show host. It is my duty to give you the facts as they are, not my personal opinion or somebody else's personal opinion, although you are entitled to express your views, your opinions, your ideas, your suggestions. You can do that on the show. My job as the host of the show is to give you the hardcore facts on statutory law, the hardcore facts on constitutional law, and the hard facts of any report that comes out from these particular personalities when they make speeches or when they make reports or put it in writing or say it on the radio. My responsibility is to give it to you exactly and precisely as they said it, without any kind of interpretation. You could interpret it the way you want to interpret it. That's not my responsibility. But as long as I give you what the facts are, lock, stock, and barrel. This is what the man said. If you interpret it a different way, then that's on you. You have a right to your views, your comments, your ideas, your suggestions. I'm not against that. But of course, now you can't put any and everything on the air. So it has to be done decently and in order. Brother Hyler, go ahead, please.
Well, definitely. We have to just bring the facts to the people.
Yes.
And as they become aware of the facts,
the fact.
they have a chance to make decisions or to take actions. based on what they're learning.
Sound decisions and good
Yes.
judgment. Because
Yes.
you see, when you start to do that,
Mhm.
when you become to see what the law says
Mhm.
and how a government functions, whether that government is functioning according to the law or
Mhm.
not, then it's now time for you to take strong constitutional action to protect your interests.
Mhm.
That's what the Constitution is there
Okay.
for. You don't have to wait for somebody to tell you that.
Mhm.
You think the enemy is going to tell you that?
No.
No, but that has never happened.
Well, we have to
Go ahead.
encourage the people then, because my heart goes out to the hardworking people of the Bahamas.
Yes,
These are difficult times.
very difficult.
Things is not as strong as they were, but
Yes.
we have to take action for things to get better. They're not going to get better on their own.
No, they're
They're
not.
not going to get better on
I
their own.
believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Mr. Thompson,
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
does the Constitution protect you? Did you find that out yet?
Please cut the caller. I spoke to that yesterday, and I am not going to be bothered with this particular personality who keep asking a question about
Yeah.
whether a particular word is in the Constitution or not. We dealt with that yesterday. And I'm sorry that I have to do this because you're wasting valuable airtime. And I don't have any time for that. If you want to talk, if you ask a question about the Constitution, is one thing. But that particular thing, he already said in his heart and his mind, it is not there.
Mhm.
I'll leave it there. I don't want to waste time
Mhm.
talking about a particular word with any particular caller as to whether it's in or out of the Constitution. The Constitution covers more than just the word integrity. It covers a wide range of character that we ought to be living by. You check your preamble, you will see what it says: a national commitment to do particular things, a national commitment to self-discipline, a national commitment to the rule of law, a national commitment to Christian values. We're supposed to follow these living, biblically sound principles, which covers everything in our lives. So we got to make some serious changes, Bahamians. And so I'm sorry that I had to cut him like that, but I don't need foolishness and nonsense. Go ahead, Brother Hyla.
Moving on to another subject, I am in Eleuthera, Eleuthera right now. Professor, it is being reported
Yes.
in today's newspaper that less than a day after repairs were made to remedy the water crisis,
Yes.
there's been another failure of another crucial part of the equipment. And the Water and Sewage Corporation announced that it is now arranged for barges to deliver water to the island.
Yes. That came on the news. Yes, you're quite right.
So until water production can
Be restored.
be restored,
Yes. Okay.
at least they're working quickly to get water there.
Well, I appreciate that.
We in 2024,
Yes.
we have to barge water to an island
Surrounded
surrounded by water.
By water. Isn't that something? Isn't that interesting? We got to barge water to an island
That's
surrounded
sitting
by water,
Sitting in water.
sitting in water. How are we get mixed up like that?
And one plant, we don't have a plan B. And so it really must be frustrating. So we're just putting it out there for all parties involved. Let's do the best that you can, not coming down on anybody, but there's a responsibility. There is a responsibility because this has not been going on for a week or two. That's the thing. This has been going on for months.
You know something? When I hear the phrase doing the best that you can, right? When we look at the experiences we have been through, I ask the question, are we prepared to do any better? I talked about the incident that happened. They talked about this lady who died.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And the nice, wonderful things the family said on air about this particular individual. I asked the question, is it possible for us to assist people like that when they come into a barrier that perhaps they were not able to deal with, which the life of this lady ended tragically, very tragically, with some other personalities who were with her at the time, who went with her to confront somebody else. And this tragedy occurred. And I'm saying we have had many situations like that in the past where people come to a barrier for some reason or another. They begin to act differently or are not able to cope with the particular situation they be involved in. And I'm trying to say, is there any way possible that we can avoid such tragedies from occurring? The answer to me is yes, we can. We've had too many bad experiences, and all we hear about the positive side of this individual after the individual is dead. Now, we may have some good people out there doing these wonderful things now. Let's get that on the airwaves then. If they're doing it so we could encourage them to continue to look after those children, to continue to be an example in your community where you live, in the constituency where you live. Because what is happening right now is we're losing too many people. And you got these vacant spots, and nobody has filled them, because we ain't got nobody to fill them. The person who was there was filling it, but now the seat is empty. So what are we going to do? We're going to keep allowing tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, which could have been avoided, to keep happening. We got to do better than that, Bahamians. Go ahead, Brother Hyler.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we tend to be reactive rather than proactive.
Yes.
In a lot of situations.
That's correct.
In family situations.
Oh, terrible.
If you see things, the temperature rising.
Yes.
If you see things escalating, you don't have to sit back and wait until somebody throws something or breaks something or threatens somebody.
Right.
Because, out in the public, I've been hearing persons threaten one another.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, do they realize that that's actually an offense right there?
It is an offense.
You don't have to strike the person. You don't have to physically carry out what you say you're going to carry out, but just to state it, to say it.
Threats of harm.
Depending on what it is unlawful, and it's an arrestable offense.
Yeah.
You can be arrested just on the words.
Yes, that is correct.
And I'm not sure if the public is aware of that. But I'm just saying that tensions are high. The stress level appears to be high.
Yeah, but then another thing is the weather even adds more to it.
Well,
with all this
the heat.
And people get hot and angry and hostile. It is quite possible they could push them over the edge. And we've seen it happen.
Yes. Yeah.
People who would not normally behave that way.
Yes.
Because no one thought to try to calm the situation, right? When they saw it brewing up, building up, and they say, "Oh, that ain't my problem." What you mean ain't your problem?
Yeah.
You can wait until somebody is dead. Then we hear all these nice, wonderful things about this deceased personality.
And it's we're hearing, family member against family member.
Yes.
Siblings, or one
another.
another.
The two brothers.
So this is a higher level. This is another level. This
Yes,
is more serious than what we normally experience.
Yes, it is very serious.
So we have to counteract it with being, more assertive. You have to be careful in terms of, bringing harm to yourself.
Yes.
But at the same time, before things get to that point,
yes,
it's in a safer place for you to intervene. I'm saying that to men and women.
That is why I am saying to the Bahamian people now, you see what happened in Kenya. You see the explosion they had there. Because a man decided he's going to do some foolishness.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the people decide they're going to break up the place. You drive them to that point where they behave in a manner that they would not ordinarily behave in, And you said the word was storms of
Yes,
protest.
storms of protest.
But the people were protesting before.
Right.
But
Understand.
the man wasn't listening. The Salami wasn't listening.
Mhm.
Said he's having and torched the place.
Hmm.
What you expect them to do? Now, I'm saying in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, our history shows from 1729 a different set of circumstances.
Hmm.
There are those who are pushing us to that point. They wanted to burn the place down. They wanted to do something stupid and foolish.
Hmm.
But I'm saying that Bahamians need to understand and to know that you can take strong, decisive, constitutional action to protect your interests.
Mhm.
We have to determine what that is we are prepared to do. You have to be on one accord. You have to be unified.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yes.
Those people were unified in what
Mhm.
they did in Kenya.
Yeah.
They said, we ain't taking this crap no more.
Mhm.
And they went out by the thousands and decided this is the course we're going to take. But it's affected the whole country.
Mhm.
Now, what's going to happen as a result of that? You got 22 plus dead, and you got hundreds, if not thousands, injured.
Right.
You see what happens when people make stupid, foolish decisions? And they can't listen. My mother always said, if you can't hear, you'll feel.
Mhm.
And that is true.
The Bahamians
Go
are
ahead.
not generally a violent people. This, I mean, as far as what's going on in the streets and in families, that's new.
Yeah, it is new.
And in terms of on a corporate level, or we just don't respond that way.
No, we don't. But the point is, you have some strangers, some foreigners, some aliens, some outsiders in our midst purporting to be Bahamian.
Mm.
This is why I get very upset when I hear people talking about the Bahamian people.
Mm.
Because we got some strangers in our midst who are not of us,
Mm.
who can cause harm, injury, very serious injury, and death.
Mm.
And the ordinary Bahamian, see, I'm a Bahamian. I know what a Bahamian is like.
Mm.
And I know how a Bahamian would respond. Genuine Bahamians.
Mm.
We don't respond that way. We don't take no cutters and chop up people.
Mm.
We don't take no gun and riddle people down.
Mm.
I mean, you shoot the man 50 times.
Mm.
Probably the first shot, second shot, he's already dead. But you just riddle him with bullets. That's not a Bahamian thinking. That's not a Bahamian psyche. That's not us.
Mm.
But it's happening here.
Mm.
So we got to check to see who is who. Do the authorities understand that? You see these tourists coming here, snorkeling, and then all of a sudden, they're gone.
Mhm.
What's happening in our country? And yet we're asking the police to investigate all these different things. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do their job. But we are putting a heavy burden on the police force. These are mortal men and women. Huh? Let's face the harsh reality. And then, they got they call them Department of Corrections. I don't know what they'd be correcting up there. But as a Majesty's prison. But they don't call it a Majesty's prison. They say Department of Corrections. And they got some challenges up there, too. As I heard, they say the Commissioner of Corrections. That's what I think his title is. Commissioner of Corrections, not Superintendent of Prison. See, they change all these things.
Mhm.
But the fact is the character of the people, has that changed? The people who are operating these institutions, has their character changed? They changed the name from prisons to corrections.
Mhm.
And Commissioner of Corrections, like you got Commissioner of Police, well, we had that from that time.
Right.
But then the point is, we have to do better than what we are doing now. And we can do better. Now, we got to help the police. I'm going to be one of those who will be saying to the Bahamian people, let us help our police officers. Now, I notice the police officers in my area. I've noticed a change in their attitude in the community. I've watched that. And I think they're trying. They're not as young as I am. It takes them a little time to get where I am. But the point is, I've noticed a change in their behavior and their attitude. That's a positive sign. And I hope it will keep up. We got all kinds of tourists in our area. I mean, when I was coming to work today, the road flooded with tourists.
Mhm.
I mean, people of all ages. They love to come in Fort Castle. This is good. We ain't arguing the fact that they just come now.
Mhm,
They could keep coming 7 days a week. We ain't got no problem with that.
mhm.
That's to bring some money into the area. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
All right. So we ain't complaining about that. But
No.
I see a trend with the police now where they are a little bit better than they were before. And I think I should publicly say that. Now, police officers don't let me down now because you know I'll come after you if you do.
Listen, Professor,
Yes, sir.
the police force, generally speaking, I mean, the patrols are high. They are in the community, moving about. They are holding crime stopper events.
Oh, that one's supposed to be tonight.
Yeah, one is tonight at St. Joseph's
Yeah.
Church. So they are reaching out. So, sometimes we get a negative report on the police. Generally speaking, we are talking about a very good and strong police force.
Yes.
Now, the only thing we could strengthen, I would say, two areas in particular.
Okay.
The way the police speak to people in many times.
Yes.
And we had a certain gentleman that say he's still waiting on an apology because
Yes.
the police came to the wrong. I mean, we're talking about one incident.
Yes.
But the one matters.
Yeah, that one does matter.
The one matters. The gentleman, the man was, I mean, extremely hurt
Yes.
and disappointed.
Yes.
Police apparently came to his residence. It was not the correct residence for the
Yes.
person they were looking for.
Yes.
But a dog ran out of the home as it was reported,
Yes.
and the police shot the dog on
Okay.
sight.
Yes.
And what the gentleman said was, but they didn't give the young lady that opened the door, they didn't give her a chance to reach. We weren't there, so we don't know the exact circumstances.
Okay.
Overall, when you look at the video, the gentleman is extremely distraught, and
Yes.
he's speaking to the police. When you listen to the tone of voice, I cannot question the police officer, but when I look at the action, I can make comment on a particular action.
Yes.
And if you were to make a judgment call on the situation, a wrong was done, but then no apology. The gentleman said there was no apology
Okay.
that day. I think the following day he made a statement, but there was no. So I'm saying that
Who made a statement the following day?
the man who owned the dog
Okay.
that was shot made a statement the following day.
Uh-huh.
I'm just recommending that in a situation. Now you say, "Oh, but that's a dog." No, that's a family member, and we have situations where we're talking about the way humans, families, Bahamians
Yes.
are being treated.
No,
And
that's true.
and we have mothers coming into the media
Yes.
saying, if my son did something wrong, you have to do your job.
Yes.
I heard one mother say, you have to do your job. She didn't question that part of it,
Yes.
but she questioned, look at how you're addressing everybody else
Yes.
around. Everybody
Yes.
is being treated like a criminal.
Yes.
So I'm saying, listen to the people and make some adjustments where adjustments need to be made. That's one. Number two, very brief, internal investigation of the police force can be strengthened in terms of even the perception is not good of the public perceiving that many officers operate and function like they're above the law.
Okay.
So the public also needs to see that if persons on the police force, on the defense force, in immigration, all of the uniform branches, they need to see a wrong attitude reprimanded to the same degree that it occurs. What I'm saying is, yes, it does happen. You can see an officer was arrested, not long back.
Yes.
That's one. But what I'm saying, Professor, is the occurrence is great. It is a lot of occurrences.
Yes.
We need to see action against those as often as possible.
Okay.
So I just leave it right there.
I won't disagree with
So
that.
other than those two things right there, the police force, generally speaking, they working hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
And
They're not working hard.
they're generally doing a good job.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to do better.
No, we have to do
Yeah,
better.
we have to do better.
Yes.
Yeah. People, families are hurting, and if we don't feel protected, I mean, come on now. We need all of our women to feel protected. In particular,
they got to give me some protection too. Because I keep asking, well, where's my police protection? Well, they say they could protect me.
I didn't mean to be prejudiced more so towards the women. The women and the men and the boys and the girls, we all need protection. But I'm just saying, the women and the children need to feel safe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They need to feel safe at all times.
That's right.
And we had a situation where the emergency number for 911 and 911.
Yeah, you
both
did
911 and 919.
Yeah, you did
some
call that.
areas, not all, some areas were experiencing difficulty, and I believe it's corrected now. But that's not a light matter.
No, it isn't.
That's not a light matter. You on the road, with your family, something happens, and you're trying to quickly dial 911. No answer.
That's a 919.
Yeah. I think it's corrected now, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But last week they had issues with the phone number, and the media outlets did put an alternative number out there.
Yeah.
So but this the situation we're in right now, Professor, we cannot ask the citizenry to pay their taxes, to do better, to meet their responsibility, and at the same time, those in authority, whether it's businesses or on the government level, everybody have to do what is right.
Yeah, you got to pay the people.
Yeah.
So they could meet their obligations.
Are you saying that, Professor? There is one story in the newspaper where I believe it's the Public Hospital Authority. They're reporting that they had to fire the security company that they had under contract, because that security company was found to not be paying their employees.
Okay.
And when they found out, they terminated the contract. So that's disheartening to hear. And at the same time, look at the two sides of it. In distressful times, people's monies are being withheld.
That's correct. Yes.
But typically, the bills still have to be paid.
The bills have to be paid.
The bills have to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's the government or any of its agencies that are not paying persons, or somebody under contract with the government is not paying employees, we see where the government took action here in this particular case.
Yes.
They took action.
Yes.
So how about some uniformity where there's non-performance, non-compliance? How about we take action everywhere that this occurs?
Okay. Now, this security firm was hired by the Princess
By
Margaret
the
Hospital?
Public Hospital Authority.
Oh, the Public Hospital Authority. Now, the PHA, the Public
PHA.
Hospital Authority,
Yes.
is responsible for what? All of the clinics and
the hospital and all the clinics.
They all come under the Public
all
Hospital
come
Authority.
under the Public Hospital Authority.
Okay.
So they took action on that.
Right. Okay.
So
what happens now to the employees?
Well, whether they were made whole is what they call it, or whether they were paid. I didn't read to the end of the story in terms of did they receive payment after all.
Yes.
But the thing is, they protested.
Yeah, I understood they protested
They
at
protested.
the hospital. Didn't they do that?
They protested.
Didn't they protest at the Princess Margaret Hospital?
They did. They protested, and they got results.
But they had this protest.
I'm not.
I thought I heard on the radio. If I'm incorrect, anyone out there listening could tell me. I thought I heard on the radio they did it at Princess Margaret Hospital.
No, I'm not saying. I'll look at it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
looking at it
Yeah.
now, but
All right.
I think we're going to break. But
Yeah.
they,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. The lines are open 3260271, 3260272. Bahamians, you need to get involved in what's happening in your country. Don't wait until something happens to you. Then you start crying out, and then you don't get any immediate attention. You get left out in the cold. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
That R&B ear candy that you love. Plus, we'll engage in conversations inside a confession of love and so much more. And you never know who's going to drop by. It's The Quiet Storm, all getting underway tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on Global 99.5. I'm Letty Greer for The Quiet Storm. Keep it moving.
From East Street to Blue Hill Road, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We're in the last part of the show, so we'd like for you to call in 3260271, 3260272. Express your views, your comments, your ideas, your suggestions, and also to be actively involved in what's happening in your country. You're going to have to start at some point, because we're going to need all of our people, all free-loving Bahamian citizens, patriotic Bahamian citizens, who see what is happening in their country. And you make a concerted decision to stretch your hand out and help lift the country out of the troubles that we're in. Because all of us can make a contribution, a meaningful contribution. Not all would be able to do the same thing. And that's why we have different talents, different abilities, different potential. You see, in building a house, you need the carpenter, you need the fellow who's going to do the water, you need the fellow who's going to do the painting, you need the fellow who's going to put in the lighting, the fellow who's going to do the roof, the fellow who's going to do the water. See, all those things you need. These are different personalities with different skills to complete the house. But then building the country is just like that. We're building a nation. And we don't want to break it up like they did in Kenya now. We don't want that kind of foolishness, because that just throws you back. So now that we see what happened in Kenya, and we know we have a very strong constitution here. I don't know how strong it is in Kenya. But the point is, you're going to find that when you look at the political history of many of these African nations, it's racking with turmoil. Tremendous overthrows of governments, people being killed left, right, and center. That's what you get, Bahamians. That's what's happening. Now, these are people who want to live. Look at the people in Ukraine and see what happens when you get all these funny languages in your place. The people ain't sure whether they're Russian language or Ukrainian language. They're split between the two, so they ain't quite sure. Russia want to take them over, and then they want to move out from there. And so we have these kinds of things happening. The lines are open, 3260271, 3260272. And we want you to participate. Help make your country a better place, because Bahamians do not allow situations to get to the point where you regret it. And then we got to wait for a long period of time to try to build up the country again. We don't want to throw ourselves so far back that we can't recover. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
Pretty good. And your guest.
I was trying to call you earlier today, but I couldn't get through.
Oh, boy. I was
Good
right
afternoon.
here, you know.
Yeah.
Right here. I thought about...
I think your line was down in the sense that, they say that you had to call back.
Oh, I
Yeah.
might have been charging.
You might have been charging, yeah. Because
Yeah,
I know
did.
normally I always can reach you.
Yes. I hope all was well. No great emergencies. I was listening to your conversation earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were talking about, the need for Bahamians to make a move. And I don't think that our people are slow or dumb or that we miss anything.
No, they're not.
There's been a dearth, D-A-R-T-H, shortage of leadership
I agree with that.
in every aspect of life.
Yes.
I'm thinking as a younger person, there were leaders in the Christian community.
Yes.
There were leaders in education. We had an abundance of it at some point.
I was brought up under that.
Exactly. And I think you related to some people who did the church.
Oh, yes.
Big church there on the corner.
Yes.
And I went to school with your sister
Yes, you
at
did.
Government High.
Yes, ma'am.
And so she was very bright, a godly girl.
Yes.
So there was no absence of godly leadership in every sphere of our national life.
National life, yes, ma'am.
At one point.
Yes, at one point. That's correct.
And then we've come to this place where there's a tremendous shortage and where people who we thought were good and fit persons,
Fit and good
just
person,
when they
child.
open up their mouth and make their video
Yes.
and tell us what time it really was.
Yes.
I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. I say, he's just saying that to get elected. And I thought, what a dishonest thing to say.
To say yes.
But no, it turns out to be true.
It turns out to be true. That's correct.
Okay, so now that we know, and now that we understand that the country that God has given to us will be taken away if we don't do something.
If we don't do something about it, that's correct.
I think our first order of business should be fervent prayer and fasting.
Yes.
That God will raise up leaders after His own heart, godly leaders.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I see a whole heap of clowns making a bunch of noise and doing tomfoolery, and we got better sense than to follow them. So they may as well just go sit down. And I heard you talking about Kenya and what happened there. And I want to point out that even though they've not pointed to the star in that whole argument, there's a young man there. He's the leader of the opposition. His name is Ekuru Aukot. And he's the one that led the constitutional challenge to prevent those people from being hauled off to Haiti. But that I think they're going to have another court case in a few days. They didn't get the timing on that one.
Yes, ma'am.
Because what the government did was conclude some arrangements with the so-called appointed prime minister.
That's
all
correct.
very unconstitutional, but you've got to get to court.
Yeah, you have to get to the court. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
and so they weren't able to do that in a timely fashion. The current leader of Kenya, he is very financially focused, and he was after the money that the United Nations offered for intervening in Haiti's business. Some 600 million was promised. I hope he gets it.
I hope he gets
their
it too.
country is in dire need of funds. I think they had a big flood there recently.
Yes, ma'am.
And so there's a definite shortage of cash. But notice when they tried to put the pressure on the citizens, under that same godly leadership, the citizens said no.
No.
And so that is off the table. What we ought to have learned from that exercise as Bahamians is that we have constitutional rights that we need to defend.
Yes.
And whenever the proposal is egregious and going to do us great harm, we need to stand up and say no.
That's correct.
And so I think all is well in the Bahamas. God is raising up leadership. We're not, we don't have Bivy in our eye. We just was looking for God's appointed leaders,
yes, ma'am,
to champion some things
champion
for
the
us.
cause. Yes,
and it shall be done. When we saw the government giving away citizenship wholesale, and we realized we're going to lose the country,
that's right.
I was happy to put my name to the legal challenge.
Yes.
And I don't know if you were listening to Mr. Gardner on Hard Copy last evening, but when he went to take some new letters over to the Minister of Immigration, the minister's secretary claimed that the minister is saying the letters have to be accompanied by minutes of the meeting. Well, absolutely illegal and unconstitutional, because the note in the paper tells you what is required.
Yes.
A signed letter. And so, of course, our lawyer would respond to that right away and tell the good minister that Magna Carta, that already happened. This is post Magna Carta. You don't get to make up the rules as you wake up in the morning.
Right.
What we learned from the good British people a long time ago was how to make rules, establish rules which apply to everyone.
Yes. You
You don't wake up and decide, okay, you need to turn over 3 catguts and do 2 jumping jacks. The answer to that is no.
Yes, ma'am.
It says, sign a letter, and all citizens are invited to protest the granting of our citizenship.
Yes.
That's a constitutional right.
That's right.
So what the minister thinks, we don't even care. And so if he is not willing to look at the objections which were duly laid, then we will have to take him to court personally, but not before bringing the press down to where he is and embarrassing him to be the hypocrite that he's turned out to be. Because you can't be constitutionally knowledgeable one day and then next month you lose all your sense. We ain't accepting that. Either you took to drinking or you lost your mind. We're not sure.
Yes,
but it will not be acceptable. And we have good godly leadership, child. We have a lawyer off the chain. But everybody already knows that he's a stander.
Yes,
you can't run him. He ain't gonna take to the hills, and we will not take laughs.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're not going away. That filed motion on February 14. That stands. That has Privy Council backing. We have established precedents in law that's being presented. So there's no failure in it. I'm just embarrassed, Brother Thompson. You know, I spent so many years being a supporter of the Progressive Liberal Party to find that in 2024, an organization could now be committed to giving the country over to Haiti. And you were a stalwart counselor, Brother Thompson. I know you must be personally embarrassed. How could this have happened to the organization that brought majority rule? How could this have happened to the people who just the other day gave it the majority vote to govern our affairs? How do you turn on those people and give their birthright to another nation? How do you do that?
Good question.
Without going to listen, treason is a serious, they don't draw on court here anymore, but the penalty for it is life imprisonment. Anyhow, I'll let you go on that, Brother Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you for the time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your contribution. Lady Russell had a lot to say there. No, but the thing is that the party that had the opportunity to bring majority rule, to bring independence to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. This is why I separate the party and the government. You had members of that particular party that had the opportunity to do good for the Bahamian people. It is the government of the Bahamas that has failed the Bahamian people. The political party is a separate entity altogether, and it doesn't seem as if a lot of our people understand the difference between the two. Now, you can keep your political party, but you don't have to become the government of the Bahamas. That's what Bahamians need to understand. It is not the party that we are fighting. It is the government of the Bahamas that we have taken action against. The Patriots took action against the government of the Bahamas, which is doing the damage to this country. Not the political party. That party is something else. They could go wherever they want to go. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
What's going on, Professor?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right, and your guest?
Yeah,
I'm well also. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I want you to pay attention to the U.S. news and something was going on inside Nigeria. I don't know if you watched the African news, right?
No, I don't have access to it.
Okay. Do you know there's a general who was speaking last night on what's going on with the immigration problem in the United States?
Okay, give us a heads up on it.
Say again?
Give us a heads up on it.
Do you know that they trying to pass the immigration law in the United States to even, people who married to people, but they're south, I think, the green card status?
I think
they're trying to make them permanent residents, American, trying to turn them into Americans, right?
Mm-hmm. Citizens, right?
Because they saying America to me they ain't really fully Americans, but those who know about the American values crying now saying they being replaced by people who they really don't know.
Okay.
Like don't know their values and stuff like that.
Yes.
And what they trying to do, they doing all of that for votes.
Oh, I get you.
So like I sit back and I wonder to myself if we is be in contact with people around the world, like politicians, to see how they could keep in power. Because
Yeah,
do
interesting.
you realize this in the Bahamas? And I pay attention there good. We have two sets of celebration in the Bahamas. We have one where to celebrate what we call indigenous Bahamians, where to celebrate independence. You'll see us come out. And then when you have this Haitian flag day, you see another set of people will come out. And I don't think the Bahamian people really understand what's going on. These people have no attachment to this country because their mother, father wasn't telling them what they had. You understand?
Yes.
There's a grit. There's like your neighbor string tied to the Bahamas, but theirs is tied someplace else.
Yes.
But the only reason why they here is because you have a group of men that is not following nothing what you saying and your partner on the side you saying. They following basically the acts of others.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? To me, what I mean by when I say in the act of others, I mean like people who have interest in labor and stuff like that. Because if you look at what we supposed to have rights to, take for instance something where a Bahamian could grab a lawnmower and stuff like that, what's supposed to only be to Bahamians, right? Who taking that over? And me, I in Freeport. They create a law. They have a law from the Port Authority where if you want to do that, you have to go apply for the license. Now, Florida, I trying to tie everything back. Florida, if you go into Florida right now, you cannot get a driver's license. They're not giving you driver's license no more. You get what I'm trying to say? Like they have people who was there illegal getting driver's license. So they cut that out. And guess what they doing now? You know, when you have baby and you go there to have baby and stuff like that, if you was an immigrant, they cut that out too. And the doctors now is required to call the law enforcement. If they have any type of idea that you is illegal and stuff like that. So I'm saying, why we don't take parts of stuff with working for certain countries and apply it right here? You understand what I'm trying to say? Because it's obvious they know these people outbreeding us. It's obvious these people know that we being honest. It's obvious, and they know the voices who making noise saying, hey, look here, who's trying to wake up the Bahamians? You get what I'm trying to say? But because they got a vast following, everybody saying no until they, because now, I don't know who the gentleman is who stand up in the House Parliament. You remember, I don't know if I can make you come back to your memory, you or your guest. He put up 2 passports in the House of the Parliament. 2 passports. I don't know if he was a part of the F&M or something, but he raised up 2 passports, a Haitian passport and a Bahamian passport. He did that on national TV in the House of who represent me. And as far as I'm concerned, that's illegal. You understand what I'm trying to say? We're not a country, even though we spill it, we are not a country of laws. And I'm not talking about saying if you shoot somebody, you won't get in jail. I'm talking about a country of laws that is protecting us in-house. And you could see the fakeness of it. And then you have a man, like, they run rogue for about 4 years, and then the 5th year they catch their head. And what I mean by that is when it's time for re-election, they catch themselves. Like to say, okay, I'm vulnerable, I ain't sure if you understand? The catch themselves is what has killed me. Because if you hear crying for 3 to 4 years telling somebody, look, you doing wrong, and they still do what they have to do, but at a certain time they catch themselves, you was always in power. The human people, we always had the power. That's all I had to say. Watch the Florida, they just passed some bills. And like I said, if you know you annex me, and these people have no ties of what Bahamian is all about, even if they hear you talking, they're not going to stand up for that. I can say this and I can go on this. Look at how you divide the country. You got a Haitian flag, Bahamian flag. Bahamian food, Haitian food. Now they trying to tell you, okay, we won't speak our language you got, but Telco even following that when your constitution tell you they must speak English. We ain't saying something is wrong. We know something is wrong. We ain't saying we ain't trying to do something about it. We're trying. But you have the gorilla in the room would only come to its senses in the 4th year. Think about that.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, thank you for your contribution, Mr.
Yeah.
Hyler.
Well, you know, Professor, last week, Tuesday, you know, I'll send a shout out to the Tribune. The Tribune printed last week, Tuesday, what we were discussing concerning immigration and border patrol. And just very briefly, we were on this show last week, making sure that the public was aware that the U.S. government had a 61-day border patrol exercise where they were conducting exercises at sea. They call interdiction, and they were actually coming across many vessels, some in Biscayne Bay, getting that far. They called Anguilla Key in particular in the Bahamas.
Yes.
They said Anguilla Key, we are picking up Haitian nationals in the hundreds. Some vessels over 300. And they had a night and day air, land, sea patrol bringing migrants aboard their ships, repatriating some to Haiti, but bringing some to the Bahamas, including handing migrants over to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. I sat, Professor, in a meeting. I was invited to a meeting that took place over Zoom, but chairing the meeting was somebody representing the United Nations in Washington, D.C. And the short of it is, you know, they discuss many things about migration, but this is what I want to bring to the Bahamian people's attention. Over 30,000 migrants were estimated to have departed Haiti in the space of the 2 months, April and May. 30,000. What was stated inside this meeting is that 2/3 of all migrants end up in the neighboring country.
Okay, we're gonna have to,
I'll leave it right there. The show is over.
We're getting, I hear the music in the background, so
Yes,
we're gonna have to
yes,
shut out now.
yes.
Well, thank you very much for participating in the show. We'll be here again tomorrow between 2 and 4 p.m. We have a lot to discuss, and that means we have to move very quickly to act in our best interest. This is your host, Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.